artist show today is sponsored by PCC Airfoils, guys, keeping the engines of change moving forward. Right back to you.
All right. Let's go. Good job out of you, Anthony. Good to have PCC Airfoils back with us. So Anthony texted me yesterday and asked me to come up with some trade targets for the Guardians. The Guardians, who did salvage the final game of their series yesterday against the Twins, have not been playing particularly good baseball. They've lost 10 of their last 17, although in that stretch, 9 of those 10 losses are by 2 runs or less, most of them by 1, and even the one that was by more than 2 was by 3. They've struggled to hit since José Ramírez got hurt and Angel Martinez. And in an American League that is completely wide open, there's the Rays are, have a really good record, but would anybody be surprised if the Rays got eliminated early in the playoffs?
No, I think it's as wide open as can be.
As can possibly be. I mean, I don't know if we've ever seen it this wide open. The Yankees have not played well since Aaron Judge got hurt. They've got injuries to their pitching staff. And those are the only 2 teams in the American League that are more than 2 games over 500, if you can believe it. It's just crazy. The White Sox and Guardians right now are tied for the 3rd best record in the American League at 2 games over 500, which is just nuts. Seems like there's nobody completely out of it. Maybe the Angels probably, maybe Kansas City at 18 games under 500. So I think now is the time with a lockout looming next year. We are not going to have, I'd be stunned if there's baseball to start the season. We could miss an entire season. The way things are going, it wouldn't shock me. But so now is the time to go all in my opinion, because the American League is wide open. And the Guardians are close enough that I think with the right moves, they could be a World Series team. I really believe that, as poorly as they've played for the last few weeks.
I agree, Bull. I think sometimes we say wide open, and it's like a general term.
Yeah.
It's maybe saying that one team is not dead yet, like the Tigers would be a great example.
Right, yes.
You look at this like it's a wide open. It's a train wreck. It's wide open.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, I thought yesterday was as close to a must-win early July baseball game as you could have, and the Guardians needed it, right? They needed it out of Gavin. They needed guys to rally late and hit, and they got it. So they salvaged one. They stopped the bleeding. They're not the only team limping to the All-Star break. But they are the only team getting José Ramírez back.
That's right.
Later this month. So I agree. We've been saying it for months. The time is now to make a move. They need a bullpen arm.
Yeah.
They need at least one bat.
Yes.
And they need to be willing to spend money and resources to get it.
You know what, Bull? I talked to Anthony, and you know what I did? I reached out to my consulting firm. I reached out and said, Bull has 12 moves to be made. I'm going to run his 12 list by my 12 list. I want to see if you have the same level of guys on my list, and we can trade. I got them right here. So when you tell me I'm gonna show you my work, and you say, okay, how likelihood is that happening? I got 12. That's crazy, Anthony. So you didn't know I was gonna come prepared today.
You got 12 players too?
12 ready to go.
But I appreciate it, G.
And likely, from likely to not likely.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I did that. I have one target in particular that is almost no chance of being traded. But
I got about 3 of those.
Know.
I feel like if you're gonna get into the baseball call, you have to have.
You got to go all in.
You got to go all in. Likely, least not likely. You got to have 3. Yeah. See, I'm ready to go. I got my Jay Crawford hat on.
All right. I like that. So it's an interesting time because there's not that many teams that are going to clearly be sellers. Obviously, the Mets are a big market team with some interesting players. The Giants are the other team. With the Angels, you never know. They should be a seller
every year.
But they did fire their GM, but their owner is really weird, so you never know with him. The Orioles could be a seller, but they're not completely out of it. The Royals could be. They have some interesting pitchers. But the Red Sox were a team I thought would be a seller. The Astros were a team. The Tigers and maybe they're all not now. I don't know. In the National League, the Rockies will be a seller, but they don't have much worth buying. So anyway, those things will all factor as we go. We are 24 days, I believe, from the trade deadline. It's August 3rd this year. So let's get to it, Anthony. Let's start with the hitters. You're right. They need at least one hitter. and they need a bullpen arm. In a perfect world, they'd get 2 hitters, a starter, and a bullpen arm. That's a lot. It probably won't happen. I'd be happy if they just got a hitter and a bullpen arm.
Yeah.
Well, especially a good hitter and not necessarily. So here's a couple of hitting targets that I put up. Now, the first 3 are at least some level of realism in Mickey Moniak of the Rockies. So there is one guy from the Rockies that I'd be interested in. Taylor Ward of the Orioles and Garrett Mitchell of the Brewers. Now, the Brewers are a good team, so you think, well, why are they going to trade one of their starters? Well, the Brewers are an organization very similar to the Guardians. They're more... Now, they've done a better job developing offense than the Guardians have.
Sure.
Both have done a good job developing pitching out of nowhere. You look at Garrett Mitchell, who's having a really good season. The Brewers are, unlike the Guardians, are loaded with offensive talent. They've got good offensive talent in the majors. In the outfield. Well, they have good offensive talent, period. But specifically in the outfield, they're loaded. They just called up one of their better prospects, Luis Lara, who's another outfielder. Now, I don't know if the Brewers would trade Garrett Mitchell. And if it was a big market, good team, I'd say there's no way they're going to trade him. But the Brewers are the type of team that with a guy that's got 2 years of arbitration left, kind of like the Guardians would do with a pitcher, they might trade him in the right deal. It might be a deal where you're trading a major leaguer for a major leaguer, or at least a major league ready guy for a major leaguer. Mickey Moniak at one point was a first-round pick of the Phillies. He never panned out with the Phillies. He never really got a great opportunity with them. But he's gone to Colorado, where obviously they don't have a lot of talent, and he's put it all together. Now, would they trade him? I don't know. But because they still got control of him for a few years. But you see the year he's having. He's been phenomenal, over a 900 OPS, big-time power in the outfield, which the Guardians need. Even the batting average, which I don't pay as much attention to as I used to. I mean, this day and age, 279 is like hitting 300 when we were kids. So I like him a lot, and the Rockies may just be looking to turn him into multiple shots at good players, because they're at minimum, if they could ever put it together. Although with Paul DePodesta now, maybe they will turn it around. But they're in a position where, at best case scenario, 2-3 years, they're good. And that's if everything goes well. So Mickey Moniak's not going to do them any good for the long term. Now, Taylor Ward's a veteran. He's having an okay season. His power numbers are way down. But the OPS is fine. I think he could have a big second half for a contender. What those top 3 all have in common is they're right-handed hitters. The Guardians need some right-handed power. I don't know, Moniak's a lefty. I don't know what I'm talking, or I don't know. They're not all right-handed hitters. I'm out of my mind. But Taylor Ward is a right-handed hitter. Now, Yordan Alvarez, who's not a right-handed hitter, is the target that's probably not realistic. I don't think the Astros are going to trade him. But this guy's one of the best players in baseball. Again, this is an extreme long shot. This is just my dream scenario. If they got him, I don't even think anything else would matter. I'll be honest. There's almost saying almost no chance they're going to get him is maybe being optimistic.
Yeah. Would you do it though? Would you trade your top prospect?
Anybody.
Plus?
I'd trade anybody.
You would.
Yeah. I wouldn't trade Bazzana. Well, I say that I would.
Well, no. I mean anybody that's not on the major league roster.
Yeah, I would trade guys that are on the. I would be outside of Bazzana and DeLauder and obviously Ramirez. I would be hesitant. I would not be hesitant to trade any player in the organization, any hitter in the organization to get him. I would trade Kyle Manzardo. I would trade Brian Rocchio. I would trade any prospect to get Alvarez.
Oh yeah, okay,
I'm not saying not for anybody, but to get Alvarez, because Alvarez, I mean, this guy is the outside of Ohtani and Judge, maybe the best power hitter in baseball.
I want to run this by you.
Yeah,
there's a couple people for the Angels that showed up on this list.
Yeah, Mike Trout.
Nah.
No.
This Taylor Ward guy.
No, he's on the Orioles.
He's on the Orioles. So
yeah.
He
used to be on the Angels.
He's already off the list, right?
Yeah.
He's done. What about this Spencer Steer guy?
Okay, I'm glad you brought him up.
One, yeah.
Because I didn't have him on the list, and I had Zach and I did Ultimate Guardians this morning, and he brought up the possibility of the Guardians maybe trading Stephen Kwan and a prospect to the Reds for Spencer Steer. Because Spencer Steer has more team control, and obviously Kwan's having an absolutely miserable season.
276, 16 home runs, 55 RBIs, 815 OPS.
Right. He's having a much better season than Kwan. But the Reds have fallen apart, and they need to shake things up a little bit. And would be 100% interested in Spencer Steer. I didn't put him on the list because I had to end the list somewhere, but when Zach mentioned it today, it does make some sense.
He's on his way to a 4th straight 20 home run season.
Yeah.
You know, he's hitting it well. He actually was drafted by the Guardians out of high school. He ended up going to college.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, what does that mean? That's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, but he's been a solid major league hitter.
He has.
You know, and that's what they need. He can play.
Yeah. I wouldn't trade him if I were the Reds, but then again,
he's under control for 2 more seasons.
I think it's 2 more
after
years,
this
yeah.
one.
Now, I don't know for what reason do the Reds have everybody available. I don't know.
Well, because they've been terrible.
This guy named Hayes,
T. Brian Hayes.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not a hitter. He's a great defensive player, but he's not a hitter.
JJ Bleday? Who is
JJ Bleday.
Bleday? Who's
He's
this
another guy similar to Mickey Moniak. He was a top prospect with the A's, I think, originally, or maybe he got traded in the minors. I can't remember, but he was a top prospect coming up. He kind of had a bunch of tries up and down. Had some success last year, and then kind of fell apart. And then he was with the A's. Then he comes to Cincinnati, and he's been really good for them.
Yeah.
So, he's an interesting guy, too.
The Quan thing is interesting because I think we know they'll end up getting a bullpen arm for some low-level prospect, right?
Yeah.
But, like, it doesn't have to be necessarily a major prospect. Like, if that's a way for them to get out of Stephen Kwan.
Yeah, and as Zach mentioned, it's a good point. You know, in Cincinnati, be back with Francona, where he had success. Chris Valleca's the hitting coach there. You know, he had a good relationship with him here. So since if they were going to trade him, and now you could have if you would have traded him last year, you probably could have gotten a top prospect in return. You're not going to this year. You'd have to give up something with him to get Spencer Steer, because right now Spencer Steer has more value than Stephen Kwan. But
what you think about Ryan O'Hearn?
I don't know that the Pirates would trade him because they haven't played as well lately, but they're still in the mix in the wild card. And they're having overall, I think I like the Pirates team. I think it's a good team. I wouldn't trade him.
He's 32.
I know,
older,
but
if
I'm I would like to get Ryan O'Hearn. He is a lefty, but he just had 3 home runs and 10 ribbies.
Yeah.
I think a couple days ago. Good player. You know, he would be a nice fit. The problem is he's more of a first baseman DH, and he could play the outfield, but I don't think he's very good defensively. Who else you got? What
I got another dude.
Yeah.
Joe Adell.
Now, Joe Adell, I would love. Joe Adell is on the Angels. The Angels, again, are like dealing with. They're not like dealing with any other team. They don't behave like the rest of baseball. It's hard to trade with the Angels, so I don't know what their feelings are about Joe Adell. Like I said, they just brought in John Mozeliak, who was a longtime Cardinals general manager, to take over there after they fired their longtime GM, who just did a terrible job.
Mm-hmm.
The owner is kind of Jimmy Haslam like. He's a real bad meddler, and it just leads to a lot of issues within the organization. So Joe Adell's a nice player who has really developed of late, and he'd be a good fit. But I don't know that'd actually be a great fit. But I just don't know that the Angels
would move him.
I don't know
He's
what
27.
Yeah.
Now I got 3 pitchers. I'm gonna throw this out.
Okay.
Now you've mentioned this one before, Chapman.
Okay. Well, let's get to my pitcher list, and then So let's go to the starting pitchers, Anthony. We got Reid Detmers. I did get the Angels involved here. Trevor Rogers, who you see in the picture for the Orioles. He had a great year like 3 years ago, and then he was hurt last year and came back and wasn't very good when he came back. He's been great again this year. Freddy Peralta, kind of the opposite. He's a guy who's been great for Milwaukee for years. He's gone to the Mets. He's been terrible, but the guy's been so good for Milwaukee. Maybe he's one of these guys that he's more comfortable in a smaller market. Yeah. I don't know. That might, Robbie Ray's a veteran making a lot of money, so the Giants would have to pay off some of that contract, but they're dying to get out of their big contracts. So that might be a situation where the Guardians eat a lot, the Giants eat a lot of the Ray money, and they pick up Robbie Ray. Sonny Gray, I really like. His contract is complicated. I was reading about it yesterday. He's got, I can't remember all the details of it, but there's some tricky language in his contract where some extra money could kick in, so it might be a little complicated to trade him. He's always been a guy who's pitched well when he's been on small market teams and has struggled in big market, but not this year with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really good. You look at those numbers; they're outstanding. So those are all interesting targets and all guys that I'd be very comfortable, even though Peralta's having a bad year. Those guys are all, between number 1 and number 3 starters.
Yeah. If it's going to happen, it's going to be buy low, especially for a starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Right? So, I like your thought of the trading team picks up some of the money.
Yes.
And the Guardians say, hey, we're going for it here.
Right.
We're willing to give up a mid to maybe upper mid prospect, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like for basically renting a starting
Yeah.
pitcher
I
for
mean,
the last 2.5 months.
I don't know that any of the Peralta's a free agent at the end of the year. Most of those guys, Detmers is a free agent at the end of the year. Robbie Ray's got a couple of years, but again, that's talking about paying off some of the contract. I don't think there's a huge. I mean, Trevor Rogers. I forgot to look up his contract status. He'd probably be the most expensive. Sonny Gray does have another year left.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's a complicated one, but I'll double check Trevor Rogers' contract. But the other 3 guys won't be. Wow. He's had a couple of bad starts lately because those numbers have dropped.
He is a free agent after this year.
He is a free agent. Okay. So again, Rogers not going to cost that much. Detmers is not going to cost that much. Peralta has had great success in the playoffs in the past, but he's struggling. Ray, it's just about getting that money down. Sonny Gray will be
that was the crazy.
He's the one that will be hard to get because he'll cost the most.
No.
And he's tricky to get.
I had
a starting pitcher on there or no?
Yeah, I do. I got a dude, this Lodolo dude, but I looked at it and he got blisters on it.
He's had blisters. He's also under team control for a while. I don't think the Reds would trade him, but I'd love to get him. He would cost more.
Yeah, he's struggled the last couple, but but at the end of the day, I'm looking at it. He has team control. He is a guy that you could throw in as a starting pitcher. And then I looked at Chapman a little bit, and you had already mentioned Chapman.
Yeah.
As I mean, come on, man. If you got him and Cade Smith, good luck.
Yeah. So the thing with Chapman, and he's on my relief pitchers list if you want to bring it up there, Anthony, he's going to be a hot target. Now, the Red Sox have played better. 2 of my 3 relief pitchers are Red Sox, Chapman and Whitlock. I love them both.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chapman's the best. But maybe the Red Sox will change their mind and not sell. I don't know. They've played, like I said, they played better. Chapman's been really good. He's only blown 1 save all year. You see the strikeout numbers are still big. He's allowed more base runners than you'd like. The whip is a little high for a closer, but 35 strikeouts in 2017. I think he had one game where he just got absolutely destroyed. That probably blew up the whip a little more than it should be. But outside of that one, I think he's 19 out of 20 in terms of save opportunities. He's going to cost a hefty price, even though he's a free agent. Well, maybe not hefty, but a good price, because there's going to be every team that's a contender is going to be interested in him.
And the Guards are far from the only team that needs a bullpen.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, this team's
that is the one. He's here, and the rest of the market is here for really.
Just in the American League, the White Sox could be interested. The Yankees could be interested. The Rays could be interested. Probably not the Mariners. Texas could, although Jacob Latz has done a great job for them, but still, Cade Smith's been great here. The Cubs are 100% going to be interested in getting him back. I could see, I don't know if St. Louis has played well. I don't know if they're going to buy. I think they'll probably just stand pat, so maybe not them. Certainly, Philadelphia could always add to their pen. Atlanta could add, even though they've got a good bullpen, could add to their pen. So he's been there before. There's a lot of teams. And you never know with the Dodgers. They could have 17 relievers and still make it.
If you did get Chapman, would he be setup man or a closer? Or would you move back Cade Smith to being a setup man?
What I would do, I don't know what the Guardians would do. Jason made the point of, listen, Cade Smith's going to be here long term. You got to keep him as the closer. I think if I were the Guardians, I would make Chapman the closer and use Cade Smith more in the role that the Indians at the time used Andrew Miller in 2016, because Cade Smith's young and Aroldis Chapman's old. Yeah. And it's no slight on Cade Smith. Now, if you think Cade Smith can't handle that, maybe I wouldn't do it. I don't think he's that type of guy. I think he would be fine with that. You tell him, hey, listen, you're our guy long term. Chapman's 38 years old. Right. We can't ask him to bounce around. Let's let him stay in that spot. You've been a setup man until second half of last year. Let's put you in this fireman role. You're our best reliever. We need you in the big spots. Next year, you go back to being the closer. Yeah. To me, I would handle it that way. I don't know what they're going to do. What do you think, Zach?
It is you do have to wonder. Is it worry or wonder? But
right.
You do have to wonder how that would go.
Yeah,
but yeah, in the playoffs, like everybody's got to be ready at any time.
That's right.
So you'll have a couple of months to work on that. But certainly, it's an interesting question.
What type? So we talked about it a little bit. What type of prospects are you saying you would not be willing to give up to get Chapman? Now, technically, Bazzana is he's not a prospect anymore.
The only restriction prospect I have of the guys who are not in the majors, is Ralphie Velasquez. I would only trade him in a Yordan Alvarez type of deal. If I could get a superstar with more than a year of team control, I would consider Velasquez. Of the guys I mentioned, that's the only player I would trade Velasquez for is Yordan Alvarez. Or if I could get a Mike Trout, or something like that. Right. Unless I could get a superstar, I am not trading Ralphie Velasquez. Outside of that, I would trade anybody else in the system for even a very good player. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to have to give up something to get something, especially like you say with Chapman, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Yeah, but there's a lot of teams that want him. So you have to be able, you're not going to just be able to give up your 13th best prospect to get Aroldis Chapman. It's just not realistic. So there's nobody else in this, and I like Cooper Ingle. I know it was a disaster his 2 weeks here. You don't write a guy off based on 2 weeks. I don't really want to give him up, but he doesn't have a great position right now. And if I could get a really good player, like, he's a guy that if you're a team that's bad and you don't have a catcher, well, just let him play catcher. That's his position. Yeah. So if you're trying to think of a bad team that doesn't have a good young catching situation, now the Mets have Alvarez. The Red Sox have a couple of okay guys. Kansas City, Colorado's got a young catcher. The Giants. Yeah, I don't know that the Giants have a good young catcher. So maybe something with the Giants. You're trading Cooper Ingle. Maybe something with, what other teams have I mentioned in trades? The Angels. They have Logan O'Hoppe. I don't know how many years he's got left of control.
It's funny they traded you Bailey, and then you say they don't have a good young catcher.
Bailey stinks. I mean, he's a great catcher, but he can't hit.
Right. He had a nice little home run.
He can't hit. He's a great catcher, but so go ahead.
Logan has 2 years left before arbitration, and then he's an unrestricted free agent in 2029.
Yeah, so they probably wouldn't be interested. I'm trying to think of some other teams that are going to sell. Cincinnati, Tyler Stevens, he's okay. I don't know what he's got left on his contract. So there might be some spots and some teams interested in Cooper Ingle.
But you because you ain't getting both.
Yeah.
If you had to say today, is it the arm or is it the bat?
Well, I think you could get a bat and a relief pitcher. Maybe not Chapman, but a bat and at least maybe you could get, I think I had Luke Weaver on there. I don't think he's going to cost much. He's pitching the playoffs for the Yankees. He's not a superstar, but I'd rather throw him in there than Matt Festa or Sean Armstrong in a big spot. So I could get a hitter. To me, hitter is, I said the other day they need pitching more. After thinking about it a little more, I would make hitting the first priority. But getting a relief pitcher is big, and I do think they need a starter. And this is the year. They've done nothing of significance at the trade deadline in a decade. Nope. Now is the time to go in.
So it's bat. So you say bat, starter, reliever.
Yeah.
Or you flip-flop with reliever
I'd
and
say starter because I think I can still get a reliever cheap.
Minimal. Okay,
I'd rather get a Chapman, but I could get a reliever cheap.
Yeah. If Chapman's not going to happen for whatever reason, then I consider the reliever a priority, Garrett, but not something I'm giving up a lot for, right? Like I'm getting a guy.
Yeah.
The bat to me, if I'm running the guards and I said we're going to win the AL, then I need the bat. That's what I'm spending on first.
Yeah.
And obviously sometimes you negotiate your way and circumstances change, but I'm prioritizing bat above the other things.
G mentioned him, and I didn't have him on my list. Joe Adele. What's his contract status, Anthony? I think he's got to have at minimum 2 years left of control, and it might be 3.
I think he's only 27 too.
So if you're going to get Joe Adele, you're going to have to give up. You might have to give up Janau or Engel, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
He's go ahead. What does he got left?
He's an unrestricted free agent in 2028.
Yeah, so 2 more
After
years.
the 28 season.
After the 28.
So you got
so
3
2
years with it,
left.
or 3 playoffs with him. Yeah, I give up a lot to get him. What are his numbers looking like right now?
Give me 1 second.
I mean, he's got big time power.
He's got an average of 252. He's hit 13 home runs, 53 RBIs, and he's got an OPS of 704.
Yeah, so the numbers aren't great.
Right.
That RBI production is really impressive considering he doesn't have a great OPS. His on base is probably not great because he probably doesn't walk much. What's his OPS?
His OPS was 704.
No, I'm sorry. What's his on base percentage? His OBP.
297.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's bad.
So his OPS is low because of that.
Right.
He's
But
slugging over 400, which is good, but he doesn't walk at all. Fine, they got plenty of guys who walk. He's a guy who could throw in the middle of the lineup. He'll hit some home runs, especially in this ballpark. He'll hit some bombs. He's a big dude, good fielder. I'd like to get him, and that would be. And you got him for 3 years.
Progressive Field is a hitter's ballpark, in my opinion. Now, because some of these fly balls are just flying out.
Especially to right field.
Right field is.
Now he's a righty, but they need a righty. They need putting a big righty in that cleanup spot.
Right hand back.
Like you go. If your first 4 when they're all healthy is Bazzana, Jose, DeLauder, and then Joe Adell.
We working.
Okay,
We
let's
cooking.
go. I like that.
We cooking. And if Rocchio
and then
gonna keep
Manzardo 5. Rocchio 6, whatever. I got the catcher 9. And I kind of like that.
Listen, I told you I was coming with some heat today. Listen,
I like it,
get it done.